What do you mean tell Tanner if SoFi doesn't hit 35 tomorrow, you're calling Trump to add 10% more to the tariffs? Oh boy. Oh boy. Tomorrow's going to be interesting, isn't it? Noto better have some good things to say. So I don't know. I got a call from Matt. I thought Matt was going to want to do something. I think he's still on his way home, so he'll probably be on later. Chris and I will be on later. Not no milk right now. Later. So no, I was actually on a Zoom call that I thought would have ended a lot sooner. And I don't have anything pulled up, so bear with me for a moment. Apologize. They don't make enough hours in the day. We need to make more hours in the day is what we need. I'm using a new camera. Can anybody tell me if the video looks weird when I speak, please? Because on my end, it looks weird. It's laggy. That's what I thought. Give me 1 second. Let me change one setting. How about now? Is that better? You're not weird. You can definitely help me. So is that better than before? Does it seem laggy? Okay, it looks like it's better than before. Yeah, the FPS looks better. Oh no, I'm trying out a new camera. I am going to mess around with a few different ones, so we'll see. It's a little wonky. Uh, yes, they are S3 or RS. Yes, they are. All right, good. Yeah, the other camera wasn't doing what I wanted to do. It was just annoying. So I picked up another one. We'll see. I may end up getting a third. We'll see. All right, let's get into it. So we have, where is it? I actually think that I closed my freaking table that I had. Give me a sec. So a lot of hype around SoFi for good reason. I mean, up 3.5% today. After hours, it's pumping. It's up another 3% after hours. I guess everybody thinks that SoFi is going to absolutely blow the doors off tomorrow. I'm expecting them to do a triple beat again. I mean, that's pretty normal for them at this point, where we get top, bottom line, and guidance raise. So this is such a big week. We have Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Alphabet, Boeing, Exxon, Chevron, MasterCard, Visa, PayPal, SoFi. There's just so much. So tomorrow's big, which starts it off with SoFi and PayPal. Then we roll into big tech. We gave our predictions on Friday. This is what I'm looking for with SoFi. I know that they gave us a little bit of commentary about the tech platform and potentially having an update in the winter. So that would be Q4 when they report about the banks and what RFPs they win. I know what else I forgot to do, everybody. I am sorry. I forgot to turn the firewall off on that port. Man, I am just not with it right now. And look, I want to see what they come out with on that. It should be very interesting. Hopefully, they give us a little bit of commentary tomorrow. I think it's very important for the tech platform. I'm expecting them to also discuss how student loans are starting to come back, how they're starting to see a little bit more in the housing market. I hope they address the Fed meeting that's going to happen on Wednesday. I'm really hoping that Noto goes on TV and isn't the same speech. I hope he, a little bit of enthusiasm when he's on TV, but it's going to be interesting. I mean, look, this could do good tomorrow. It may not. We are, Tommy, I don't know if you're just saying because that's what I said. Here is where I'm at with this. I may start walking my words back because I started thinking about it. And the way that I started thinking about this is SoFi going to be the company that everybody piles into if it starts moving because people missed out on Robinhood? I was talking to Tanner about that, and that could very easily happen. So I don't know. We'll see. It could very easily happen. So right now, the street's looking for SoFi to come in with $895 million on revenue and GAAP EPS of 9 cents. I would not be surprised if they come in with 920 or 925 million on revenue. I would not be surprised if they come in with 1 million members. The member number is, look, I'm always interested in top and bottom line. I'm always interested in guidance, but it's getting closer and closer to that $1 million member mark. Noto has said in the past that he thinks that they'll be doing 1 million plus every quarter. So if this is the first quarter that they do it, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Now, I think everybody knows I want to see something on business banking. Business banking, I think, is critical for SoFi. I'm not moving off of this. I'm not going to stop talking about it, even though I haven't brought up in a long time on the FinTech Frenzy. Business banking is the key to getting a situation with SoFi where they can become a custodial service for 401ks and pensions. They already have the SoFi proprietary mutual funds and ETFs. I think it would be very beneficial for them to have a wealth management platform. I think it would be very beneficial for them to have a full retirement suite where companies can place their retirement assets with SoFi, not just get the management fee on that side, but also place them in a SoFi ETF or mutual fund. I think that would be huge. I think business banking would be very good for them. So there's a lot of things that they can do. I mean, you still have a big short interest in them. I'm still surprised what the short interest is. And we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of verticals. They just got options on, crypto's coming back, and the Fed's cutting. So Fed is cutting. That's going to be really good for originations. It's going to be good for refinancing. And they've done, 2026 is really going to be the full first year that they're not operating with something going wrong. This is a company that, and I seem to forget this often. This is a company that was fighting with one hand tied behind its back for years with the moratorium and just interest rate environment locking up the housing market. Nobody wanted to refi because of where rates were. I think 2026 is going to be SoFi's year. If I do decide to exit my position, it won't be the entire position. There are 2 companies I'm very interested in building a much bigger position in at the moment, and I may want to take some profits out of SoFi. At the same time, I think SoFi could really move, so I'm starting to walk that back a little bit. And the business banking is something, and the wealth management for not having your own ETFs, but actually being able to be a custodial for retirement assets is something Robinhood is not doing, to my knowledge. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm happy to walk that back, but it's something that I really want SoFi to get into. So it's going to be crazy tomorrow. I am certainly not getting up when everybody else is getting up. I can tell you that much right now. I mean, I know that the guys are looking at getting up around 6:30 because earnings come out around 7 or so. I'm not doing that. I'll be on with a mid in the morning, probably 7:45-ish to listen to the earnings call. So not getting up super early. Noto's crazy. I don't know why he wants to get up at 4 in the morning to do this. I certainly wouldn't. So who knows? Can SoFi get into sports betting? I'd rather not. I mean, they're a bank. I don't want them messing up the business with sports betting. I really wouldn't want that to happen. Um, Volume's going to be big tomorrow. So I'm just hoping this isn't the typical pop and then selling off. I really don't want that to happen. I think that it's such a good company. I have just so much respect for Noto and the team that you guys know this is one of my favorite companies. I mean, the speech out at Stanford is the reason that I got into SoFi. It's the reason I started following Noto. If you haven't watched it, it's freaking amazing. And we're going to see what happens. But tomorrow morning is going to be really interesting. And then we got PayPal, the company that I'm at my wit's end with. This company, in my opinion, should be a lot higher than it is. I am no longer a shareholder. I think that they need to, my opinion, they need to pay a dividend. The buybacks aren't doing anything for them. It's just they are allocating $6 billion to return to capital at this point. I think they need to come out of the game, make a big statement, do a 3 or 4% dividend, send $3.5 billion to the dividend, $2.5 billion to buybacks. I mean, nothing is getting this stock's mojo back. And here's the thing, dying companies don't grow. There has not been a year on a year-over-year basis since 2015 that PayPal has not increased its revenue. I mean, this company is still a growing company, yet, I mean, I'll bring up the chart. It's ridiculous what's happened to this company. Now, I'm not saying it should have been at $300 when the market put it at $300. But at the same time, I don't think it deserves to be where it is here based on the numbers. I mean, it's freaking trading at under 15 times this year's earnings. I mean, this is just not a company that's going under. It's got a great balance sheet. You know, if we look at earnings, they're expected to do $5.24 this year, then grow EPS by 10% and then 14% in 2026 and 2027. This company is still growing. On revenue, not the most exciting, but it's still growing. It's not a dead company. They're treating it like a dead company. They're treating it like a tobacco company. I don't know. I think what they need right now is to pay a dividend for two reasons. Oh, look who it is. Hey, Matt, I'm actually live right now, so I'll send you a link whenever you're ready. No, but you're late. You took a little longer than I anticipated, sir. Well, I know you don't sleep, so I'll send you a link and I'll see you soon. Bye. All right, so Maddie will be here soon. So let me actually get him the link. Give me one moment. I should put the stream out for me and Chris. Man, I'm starting to sound like Chris. Me saying me and Chris when he was saying me and Steve. Do not make a meme of that, please. Why am I even giving you guys ideas? Hold on. Matt Money. All right, I just sent him the link, so he'll join when he can. Let's see. Go woke, go broke, apply. Well, listen, I mean, let's not go down that road. A lot of people still use PayPal. A lot of transaction volume goes to it. And look, the numbers are the numbers, right? Mid-single digit growth on revenue, low double-digit growth on EPS. The reason I want to see a dividend is because I think it'll bring a new breed of investors in. I think you'll be in a situation where dividend funds pick it up. I think that you'll be in a situation where a lot of income investors pick it up, especially with where rates are headed. So that's what I'd like to see from PayPal. I mean, if we're going to see that, is a different story. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm much more excited about PayPal than I am. I'm sorry, SoFi than I am PayPal. But PayPal could do something. I mean, that it's been consolidating. I look at this chart. If they come out with anything that's out of the ordinary, this thing could pop because of how inexpensive it is on a cash basis. I mean, it's a profit center. It's an absolute profit center. Before I go on to any other companies, I'll let give Matt a minute to get in. So I'll just start going through the chat and answering some questions. Do you think Beyond is done, or do you expect another? I'm not following Beyond Meat. Listen, I'm a carnivore. All right. I have no interest in fake meat. I'm not even looking into it. I don't care. My three very simple words: I don't care about Beyond Meat or fake meat. Yes, Amit, new webcam, trying it now. I don't know if it's any better or not. We'll see. Do you think it's better? I use PayPal to pay my ADA. Okay. I have no idea what ADS is. AI meat? Come on. That would be pretty crazy, right? You know, so I don't. High fades. I don't know if you told me ASST. Somebody told me it. I put it on the watch list. And of course, somehow it pumped today. I didn't buy it. I don't know how whoever told me about this. I don't know how you told me about it a day before it goes up 49%. I'm a moron for not listening. Um, I don't know how you guys figured that one out, but no, I looked into it. I thought it was somewhat interesting. I said to myself, I'm going to look more into it this week. And then one day it just goes up 49%. So I don't know where you guys are getting your information from, but you guys hopefully did well on it. I love PayPal. I use their free money all the time. 5K loan, 6 months, 0 interest. All right. All right. Doesn't Mint need a new webcam? Portfolio allocation for what? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Trade faster, Steve. I don't trade. Go over my port. That I don't think we have enough time for me to do that. I really don't. Look, I will tell you what I've been buying, except for one company that I started a position in today. I'm not ready to bring that up yet. I'll probably bring it up tomorrow. But I did buy more BMNR today. I am very interested. This week's going to be very interesting because I may be repositioning a few things. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Bluebird, let's just say this. If I had Maddie's money, I'd donate mine. Let's just say that. He hates when I say that to him. Amazon or BMNR? I mean, look, the safer play, in my opinion, is Amazon. But I don't know. I'm buying BMNR because I think that Ethereum is going to do something big. Look, don't buy anything because I'm buying it. BMNR is a spec. We all know this, but it has a lot of freaking potential. So we'll see. Yeah, did everybody see what's going on with Alphabet? So remember, I said my fair target, my price target was 292. Amit and I had that long conversation a couple of months ago. I went through the valuation, and I said that I think fair value for Alphabet was 292. It's at 269.27. After hours, it's over 270. I mean, that's interesting to me. I think they're going higher. I don't know if they're going to, but I think they're going to go higher. I think these companies are going to really produce a great quarter. Real GDP is at 3.7%, I think. I mean, the Atlanta Fed has it close to 4%. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. We could be on a tear this week. I mean, Amit asked us on his market close when we kind of bombarded him. And, 7,000 is where I've been saying all year. We're at 6,880. Got 2 months to go. We could hit 7,000. We could definitely hit 7,000. And we could also have a pullback. I don't know. I'm feeling good about 7,000, though. Oh, look at this. People were saying that I was crazy, that, oh, no, Amazon's not going to cut jobs. Look at this. Amazon plans to cut up to 30,000 office jobs per Reuters. I mean, I don't think I'm crazy with what Amazon's going to do. I really do think that they're going to create a lot of efficiency through AI and robotics. So we'll see. To me, Amazon's really interesting because they have such a small margin that I think they're going to be able to pick up the most margin out of all these companies. My thoughts on Meta is that the analysts have expectations way too low, and I think that Meta is going to blow the quarter out of the water. I think they're going to just come out swinging. I really like Meta here. I mean, Meta's been something I've been bullish on for a very long time. And the real question is, what's going to happen when the Fed cuts? I mean, here's where I'm at with this. Let me bring up the Fed chart. So we got 97%. I'm sorry. We have a 97.3% chance we get 25 BIP reduction October. December, 95% chance we get another 25 bips. And I think that we're going to get a cut October, a cut in December. Now, when I look at the dot plot, here's where it gets interesting. Expecting to end around 3.5% this year, 3.25% next year, 3% 2027. And look at this guy. What happened? You didn't turn the volume on? Can you hear me?
Steven.
No, you can hear me.
I think people want a day in the life of
no, they definitely don't. Not with the meetings I was in today.
I think people want a day in the life with what it's like to be the milk monster.
I don't think they do. I do not think they do.
I want a day in the life of the milk monster. FOMC, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that this dot plot's going to get blown up and it's going to look different in 9 months from now. Here's why.
More aggressive or less aggressive?
More aggressive. More aggressive. So when Trump puts a new Fed chair in, it's obviously going to be somebody that's like-minded and somebody who is on the same wavelength. Matt, why aren't you streaming this on your channel? Is it not set up for that?
No, it is. I just I'm not going to be here long. I just wanted to say hello and eat something really quick, and then I'm going to hop off and I have to do something. But
I'm only going till like 9 or 9:15 on this, and then Chris and I are going to go live at 9:30.
That's awesome. Well, I'm just going to have my salad and soup and be here and chime in if you want anybody to follow through.
Well, I wanted to know what you think about what I'm saying about the Fed. So I'm thinking that when Trump installs a new Fed chair, it's going to be somebody like-minded. It's going to be somebody that looks at rates the same way as Trump, and they are now going to be in charge of the Fed. They're probably going to carry a little bit of influence, and they may be able to influence some other votes. And I think that we could see, instead of the dot plot settling at 3.25 for the end of next year, I could see that settling around 3% flat and potentially getting down from 3.25 to 2.5 in 2027 is where I'm thinking. I don't think they're going past 2. I don't think they're going to get to 2 by the end of 2027. But I wouldn't be surprised if this goes from 3.25 to 2.5 in 2027.
I don't hate it. We're in unprecedented territory, right? Because every time we've eased off of a tightening curve in the past, we've had some sort of recessionary event. We've had to cut. Well, not in the past. I mean, in recent time, right? Over the past 20, 25 years, every time we've been on some sort of easing trend, we end up with some sort of recessionary implications that makes us cut. So we're kind of in unprecedented territory in recent times. Like, we haven't had an opportunity to ease on the brakes like this for almost going on 2.5 decades. So I'm curious to see. I'm kind of with you. I don't see them going below 2.5% either. I think going into the low twos is kind of aggressive. It's kind of hot in terms of letting the economy run wild, and especially with what you kind of have already in place with how well the economy is already doing, the GDP expanding. But you do have some impacts going on, right? With unemployment trickling up, and then credit issues and defaults starting to creep up as well. So I'm with you. I think you need a little bit more of aggressive of a stance that I think that the Fed has been kind of lax on in 2025. So I'm curious to see what ends up happening. But a nice reminder, Jerome Powell was a suggestion of Trump back in the day. So I'm kind of curious at what point, he kind of switched off. I guess maybe it's just he hasn't been as aggressive as he wants, and makes sense. I mean, I think he's been too cautious as well. But granted, it's not just him, but he's the leader in the Fed, so he can help influence and communicate, to his colleagues within the broader banks that, hey, it's time to, nut up or shut up. That we're starting to see the slowdown here. Let's get ahead of this thing before we get a little bit too late, right? They were too late in increasing rates. Now they're too late in cutting rates. So I don't know what's a better thing. I don't know if it's better to be too late than too early. But to me, I think it's evident that we need to be a little bit more aggressive here.
Well, look, for a long time, I thought Powell did a good job. I thought that he landed the ship well. But my critique was that he played it too safe after the fact. Look, obviously, he didn't start raising rates quick enough. We all know that. But at the same time, we were in the situation we were in. It was an unprecedented time. You got to cut him some slack. Sure, inflation wasn't transitory in hindsight, but they did their job, and they got us to a point where there was a no landing, which was the best scenario. Problem is, they didn't move from that when unemployment started ticking up. And that should have been the indicator. Once you go up 0.5 percentage point, that should have been the indicator that you need to start cutting rates. So, it is what it is. That
I like what you're saying, though. You definitely need a reset. I think you need to be more aggressive from what is being displayed on there. And I've been pretty frustrated as a homeowner myself. I mean, I look at all these friends of mine that were able to buy homes before 2020, and I, knew I was going to be moving out of the country in 2018, 2019, so I never bought a home. And when I moved back to the States in 2020, 2021, I finally got my opportunity to buy a home because I knew I was going to be staying for a while. And unfortunately, at that point, rates started skyrocketing. So I'm sitting here, seeing my friends paying and having their nice, homes that are, I don't want to say twice as expensive as mine, but 60, 70% expensive as mine, and their payments are the same. And it's tough to see.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, right? It's pretty freaking wild. But yeah, the housing market was locked up for too long. I don't think that they needed to go as high as they did with rates, it did work out, but unfortunately, it created a crisis in housing where we just don't have enough housing and builders weren't building. And the company I was talking to you about, which I'm not going to really say tonight, I'll talk about it tomorrow. I did start a position today, Matt. So we'll see. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But look, I think the builders are going to really do something big next year, not from a share price perspective, but I think that they're going to add a lot of units next year because the cost of capital is coming down.
I mean, do you think they bottomed? I haven't checked in a couple weeks. They were on a huge trajectory downwards because they did peak out. And I'm curious, it's one of those things I was looking at. Like, obviously, I'm not running to go buy home builders, but I think there could be an arbitrage play. And I know Chris loves arbitrage plays. Wouldn't be surprised if it's something that eventually when he feels the market turns, especially when it gets a little bit more aggressive with cuts and he sees the 10-year going in a certain direction, that it's something he presents if he sees the opportunity.
Did you see what Dan Niles said today on CNBC?
I did not, but I saw Amazon cutting 30,000 jobs. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, I just showed it. Diamond, this may be more suited for Matt. I mean, it's not something I've ever done, so I really can't tell you yes or no on that.
Have I ever thought about renting out my other condo? I don't have I have my Airbnbs that I rent out, but this house I've been thinking about if I do move, if I keep it or not. But if I move out of the state, it's going to be tough for me to.
Is he always bearish though? I don't know. Is he? I guess he is.
But what did Dan say? You didn't explain it for me.
It's 6 minutes. I mean, he thinks that we're going to see a 30 to 50% correction in many AI related names next year.
Well, I agree. The top performers will be fine, but it's been something that I've been talking about. Like, there's going to be a lot of speculative companies that have been moving that haven't shown up. And I don't think it's just going to be with respect to AI. I think it's going to be nuclear. I think it's going to be a lot of these speculative spaces, even space to an extent, where the companies haven't shown up yet in terms of delivery, and they're still super far out, that you're going to see a retracement in a lot of them that have run way beyond their extension.
I'm not disagreeing that there aren't places that are expensive. There are places that I believe are expensive in the market. I think it really depends on what he is considering AI names, is where I'm going with that. I think there are companies that are definitely going to get a retracement. Now, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I think the big companies are just going to get bigger, and I think it's going to hold the market up. I just don't think that these smaller companies that are running hot, your Oklos and your Quantum, I don't think that they're going to really be impacted. And when I see the deal with AMD and IBM, I was saying it yesterday, that deal right out of the gate makes me think that, you know what? These quantum companies are not going to be able to do something that the combination of AMD and IBM isn't going to be able to do.
They just have billions of dollars. It's tough. I mean, it's not to say that it's not to say that some of them won't come out alive. Some of them will, right? But you can't just say as an entirety, all 100% of the quantum space will succeed.
I have no idea who's going to succeed and who isn't. I just really am at the point where I'm just like, you know what? I don't know what I don't know, but I don't see anybody surpassing the big companies in quantum, so I'm just not messing with it. It's just not something I can get into. I just don't know enough about it. And why would you want to go up against these companies? It doesn't make freaking sense. It doesn't make sense. Like,
It's opportunity.
for who though? Opportunity for who? How are they going to do something AMD can't do? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. My brain's mental. You know, when Tevis is on the left of the screen instead of the right of the screen, his brain gets broken. That's where I'm at with quantum. My brain is broken because they're going up against juggernauts. I mean, sure, you can point to Musk and he went up against Ford and GM and won, sure. But that's a freaking billion to one shot. I mean, I don't know.
Well, you could say the same about Apple going up against BlackBerry. You know,
Apple
I don't
had an
know.
infrastructure, though.
That's true. Apple had backing. They had the PCs.
They
The
had an
iPods.
infrastructure.
I don't know. So what are you buying, Steve?
I bought more BM&R today.
You retiring because of your SoFi position?
No. Come on. You know that's not happening. Are you excited for SoFi tomorrow?
I am. I'm hoping it continues to do well. I'm just upset that maybe I should have held until after earnings, but I've got to stick with my decision, and I'm happy that I have Amazon.
Yeah.
People are saying Rocket Lab versus SpaceX. Good luck buying SpaceX.
I made a mistake not buying SpaceX. I had an opportunity to, and I didn't do it.
To buy SpaceX?
Yeah.
I never had the opportunity.
Yeah. One of those companies reached out to me, and I didn't like the way this. I was so stupid. I didn't like the way the split was. If it went public, would they take out of your account? And I didn't trust it, even though it was a credible company, and I know people that used it. I just didn't like the terms, and I probably ended up losing a lot of money not going forward. I don't know. Live and you learn, right? Live and you learn.
I didn't know you had the opportunity. It's the first time you ever told me about.
Well, I told you that, didn't I?
No, and then I told you about Rocket Money, and then you still turned it down?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. I just didn't see the vision for that stuff. I mean, at least with SpaceX, Starlink, but I don't know. I think that these companies are so crazy right now.
It's possible. I mean, they can give you an opportunity. There will always be an opportunity to potentially wait for some of these companies to prove out some things and be able to buy in at a cheaper price. I'm not saying everybody should be waiting, because sometimes that opportunity may not come. But I don't know. That's part of the reason why I continue to buy Rocket Lab, is like I'm still cautiously optimistic it'll go to the
Sorry, Matt. I'm trying to close windows and stuff just starts going on.
You're good. I'm still cautiously optimistic that it'll go to the 100 billion plus range, and I don't have a lot of capital on hand all the time because I'm always investing. So, I always just try to make sure that whenever I have the opportunity, I just buy more shares, and I'll figure out a way that if it does drop, that I could figure out a way to monetize something and be able to get more stock.
So, what are you most excited for this week?
Well, I want to hear a little bit more about what Amazon's planning. I mean, it goes back to them trying to shrink their G&A and increase their ops margins, and I think that they're really starting to see I mean, they're investing. You saw it. You shared it on the screen. $100 billion in terms of capital expenditure, and it's insanity, right? So I'm sure they're just looking at it and they're saying, okay, well, our overall ops margin is X. We need to get it to Y. And I'm sure with automation, we can figure out a way to make some of it work.
Yeah, I think Amazon's still my, and you can't even say dark horse, but we talked about it the other day, I guess yesterday at this point, that I still think that there's the most opportunity for Amazon here. And I don't know. I'd be a buyer. I'm not currently buying, but I'd be a buyer of Amazon if I wasn't buying other things at the moment. We'll see. I'm very interested to see what Apple does because it feels like Apple's done a big move, which they have, but what's the catalyst going forward now with them?
I the one thing with Apple, yeah, I think that's tough. I mean, their net income is starting to get really tough. I think it's really just a buyback game for them at this point, and so services are getting better, so that's helping their ops margin a little bit, but their top line is getting pretty challenged. I mean, they're and same thing with their net income. But to me, I think it's pretty funny. I mean, the Google piece. I mean, Chris, you and myself, I think we're all like, to think that people were able to easily buy this below $140 a share,
Crazy.
and people were so concerned about what was going on with what Gemini, short term was putting out when it's something that's so fixable. Granted, yes, I understand the cultural rot that was kind of going on at the company and things like that, but just the conglomerate and the beast that Google is, just not being able to see the forest through the trees and just being like, nope, it's going to zero, search is going to zero, and thinking that Google was done. I think it was pretty funny. I wish I bought more. I didn't buy enough. I did increase it by about 30%, but I wish I had bought more.
I think we all wish we bought more of so many companies. Look at this, people spamming alternative assets. Listen, hopefully, if you're into alternative assets, you watched the interview with Ty Wilson last night that I did. I really enjoyed it. He was freaking great, runs a crazy business. It was a great interview. So, go watch it and go follow Matt. Like, he makes some really great content. He's been right about so many things. I bust his chops about rocket money all the time,
Rocket money.
even though I know it's called Rocket Labs. And look, he called that when it wasn't easy to call that company. He's called a lot of companies when it wasn't easy to call them. Go follow Matt on his channels.
And we'll see. I'm making some calls on some other ones that don't look so good right now. We'll see how they turn out.
What do you mean?
I don't think a lot of people have a lot of faith in next decade. I think a lot of people are weary, and same thing with Venture Global.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't look. I'm going to take a stab in the dark here. I don't think a lot of people truly understand those industries. I understand them more than most because I truly care about the pipelines. And I've done an immense amount of research on the oil and gas industry over the past couple of years. And I understand the whole concept about moving volume down to the Gulf Coast, liquefying it, shipping it on the water, selling it on the water, and what is happening in Europe. So it's a lot for people to really comprehend if they're not actively interested in energy. So I just think it's stuff that people aren't necessarily looking at. It's hard because technology is always the story. Oil and gas just isn't exciting like tech to a lot of people. So
it's really interesting if you think about it right now. So Cheniere puts out about the US LNG market is about 100, 110. Let's just call it 100 to make it easy. Cheniere owns about 50 to 55% of that, which is pretty insane. So
yeah.
like the market share right now is 50% ownership by Cheniere. And then Venture Global owns like, I would say 25% of the remainder. And so you think about it, like, I don't think a lot of people understand because they've been so preoccupied with Australia and some other assets worldwide that unless you really were thinking about this, like, I just don't think that people were really putting two and two together. And I don't think that they were thinking that it could make it work. And so anyway, I just think it's interesting how it's going to develop, and we'll see. I think it's interesting how you would expect some of the super major oil and gas companies to really have a foothold, and some of them do to an extent. Like Exxon has a position, and Total has a small position here and there, and Shell has a position on Western Canada LNG, but that's Canada, not the U.S. But it's really interesting to see how you have these independent LNG companies that are only focused on LNG that are absolutely destroying it and will be the owners and market share leaders of the entire US LNG export market. And yes, there's the offtake specifically that the super majors will get, but they could have easily secured some of the natural gas out of Marcellus and some of the Haynesville, which is some of the cheapest barrels in the world. Cheapest gas molecules, but we always call it barrels because it's oil equivalent, right? Oil equivalent barrels in the world.
I do the same thing. BOE is the same thing to me as BPD.
Yeah.
Like, it's just whatever.
BOE, barrels of oil equivalent, right? Yeah. Basically 1 to 5, 1 to 6. So 5 million or 5,000 standard cubic feet is basically a barrel of oil, or 6, depending on what you use.
You guys see this. You ready for what somebody sent me on X? Are you ready? Yeah.
And then I got to run.
They didn't send it to me privately. They made an actual post about it. You gotta love this.
They got to up that cookie game, though. I hope they taste good, but they're small.
I'm not going to discriminate. I'm going to tell you.
Maybe they look small compared to that massive fucking jug of
milk. And I'm not going to discriminate because those could be some banging cookies. All right.
Sometimes the small boys are the best because they got a little crunch to them and they got some.
You know what? Anybody that wants to make cookies, send a picture and Matt and I will rank your freaking cookie making skills on presentation only.
Dude, I've seen some people starting to say, "Hey, I got some Levains, dude."
Dude, I made you get them. How legit are they?
Really good.
So legit.
Really good. It's kind of pricey, but it's worth it in my opinion. If you have the expendable income, it's worth it in my opinion.
Oh, Matt's actually here. That was my post. Look at that. Love it.
I actually have a buddy named Matt Watson too. But when I saw Matt Watson in the chat, I thought it was my buddy, and it's sad because none of my buddies actually follow me. But you guys are my buddies now, so it's all matters.
Oh, don't say that, Matt.
I can't believe you have a podcast. And I'm like, well, you could watch it, you know?
That's hilarious. That is freaking hilarious.
Well, I appreciate you. I didn't mean to
stay so long.
And thank you for having me on. Unfortunately, when I signed on this morning at 7:30, I got what we call a fire drill. And it's fun. I like fire drills sometimes where you have to knock something out really quickly. So I knocked it out. And then before the person went to sleep tonight, they gave me notes. They're obviously on the Eastern hemisphere, right? So I'm gonna finish and fix that up because it's for Wednesday's meeting. So
you still have to work tonight?
Just some minor stuff, I think, but I just want to make sure so that way when I go into the office tomorrow, I'm not like panicking.
Listen, I get that. I mean, I do work at weird hours of the night for that exact reason, so I get it.
Yeah, but you rock it. Appreciate you, and I'll be listening in the background, man. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Maddie. I'll see you later.
Love you, brother. Do you have any cookies tonight? I like that shirt too. Was that a new one?
Thank you. No, just I haven't changed and toned down since going to the office.
Is that the double B or what is that?
You know what it is.
You know what it is, Steven. You rich motherfucker. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Later. Oh, Matt is freaking hilarious. Rocket update. Yeah, he killed it with that. You know, this is exactly why I say if I had Matt's money, I would donate mine. So please go follow Matt, everybody. He makes really good content. He's super smart. Go follow him. Oh, let's see. Oh, whoa. Amazon Fresh has some really great cookies from the sweet shop. I got to tell you, I've never gone there. I will take a look. I'll let you know my thoughts on that. Yeah. Is anybody going to watch the NVIDIA GTC tomorrow? I think Tanner's planning on streaming it. I'm going to try to catch it at some point and go from there. I do want to react to something. So give me a moment. I need to pull it up. I'm sure there's a smaller version of it. Hold on. Tesla's board chair was on CNBC today. So I'm going to play this and react to it, and then I'm going to get something quick to eat, and Chris and I will be on the other stream at 9:30. So hold on. Let me bring this up. Can everybody hear that when I play it? No audio. Okay. Hold on. Why does it not have audio is a good question. I remember that they said there was something I had to do, and obviously I'm forgetting how to do it. So just bear with me for one moment, because I do want to watch this. And I did hit play, but saying you guys can't hear it, right? All right, hold on.
Outside there
We
with
good?
the Optimus robot, the robo taxis, and everything else. Robin, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Great to see you as well, Andrew.
So help us understand. We just saw what you put out this morning, effectively saying that shareholders need to vote in favor of this compensation plan to compensate Elon Musk and to make sure that he remains the CEO of the company. Make the argument for us, in part because I should note that, some of firms like ISS and Glass Lewis, these governance firms, have actually told shareholders the opposite. They've said, vote against this plan. There have been others that have said that effectively Elon Musk is holding the shareholders hostage. You've been with your board sitting discussing this, and you believe that this is in the best interest of shareholders. Why?
Well, Tesla's in a transformative stage at this point in time where we're leaning in very heavily to the AI space in terms of both the vehicles, in terms of FSD, but also in terms of Optimus and the robots, as you can see here in New York today. And so for us, we sat back as a board and actually determined that this is the right time to lean into that transformation and for Elon to lead that transformation. And we then formed a special committee to actually determine what the right incentive program was to have him motivated to deliver unprecedented value for shareholders over this next decade.
And so what do you tell shareholders who say, this just seems like too much money? He's already incentivized. He owns a big chunk of the company already. I mean, that's That would be the pushback, right?
Well, it's a performance plan. If he doesn't perform against the milestones, both in terms of the market cap and the operational milestones, he actually gets nothing. He doesn't get any salary or any equity unless he actually performs and achieves the milestones that are in the plan. That is the basis of this performance plan.
Look, you know, I've argued this is the greatest pay-for-performance plan that exists, as was the previous one, which was struck down. I want you to listen to this. This was Elon Musk addressing the upcoming vote during a call last week on the quarterly results call, where he discusses some of this.
But I just don't feel comfortable building a robot army here and then being ousted because of some asinine recommendations from ISS and Glass Lewis, who have no friggin' clue. I mean, those guys are corporate terrorists. And the problem, so let me explain the core problem here is that so many of the index funds, the passive funds, vote along the lines of whatever Glass Lewis and ISS recommend. Now, they've made many terrible recommendations.
So, Robin, how much of this is about incentivizing Elon? Because it sounds like to me more than anything, he believes that he actually worries about AI in the future and wants to have greater control of the company. And how, I'm curious, the board thinks about that.
Yes, he's been very consistent in that view in terms of having enough influence over the vote of Tesla in the future so that bad things can't happen with the AI. So it's less about compensation and more about the voting influence in terms of this. And that was very clear as we were negotiating from a special committee perspective in terms of this performance package. And if there was a way of delivering the vote without the actual compensation, we would have done that. But from our perspective, there was no way of doing that. So
can you do that with voting shares that have a super majority vote?
You can, but you can only put them in place before you IPO. And so that's why some of the other technology companies have those in place. But we had many experts advising us and having a look at that exact question. Could we do that? And we ultimately couldn't. So, but what we have done in the plan is we've bifurcated the voting rights versus the economic value. He doesn't get those economic values till at least year 7.5, even if he delivers them in the first 5 years. And so that's one of the features of this plan. Shareholders get their return much earlier than Elon would if he delivers against the plan. And secondly, it really does make sure that the economic value is an incentive for him to stay at the company and continue to deliver for quite some time in the future.
Hey, Robin, right now you've got a market cap at Tesla of north of $1.4 trillion. What would Tesla be worth without Elon Musk, do you think?
Yeah, well, that's the whole question, which is why we're asking shareholders to vote. We're at this important inflection point. There is nothing wrong with being just a car company. There are plenty of car companies out there. We think we deliver great cars out into the marketplace. But the opportunity for Tesla in the future, given this AI focus and attention and the unique capabilities that we have as an organization and that Elon brings to us, really does mean that the opportunity for the company ahead of us is significant. And so, and that's how this performance plan has been put together.
Do you think it's worth half what it's worth right now without him?
It's very hard to tell, but there is definitely a premium there because of the unique capability that he brings to the company and the opportunity that we have as a company ahead of us.
You'll
Robin,
never be an old-style company, I guess, Robin, where I'm looking for some new models. I mean, if you're going to that, you don't need a sexy new model for me, do you? But the first one was so great, the Model S, obviously, the style and everything about it.
Still a great car.
It is. Is there any way I can hope for some really cool, I don't know, is a Roadster, a new one coming?
It's on the roadmap.
It's on the roadmap. Do you have any? Can you describe it to me? Is it bigger than a brand?
I'm not going to announce.
But if you're doing all this, maybe you don't need to do what we've always done. You know, a new Mustang, or you don't need the old way we think of American cars.
Yeah, I mean, Elon talked about that last week on the earnings.
All right. I mean, Elon could have avoided all this if he had just done F-class shares like Zuckerberg or Karp or any of these other guys. This could have all been avoided, and they wouldn't even be talking about this whole compensation package. Where I do agree with Elon, and look, this is an aggressive package. You can argue whether he hits it or not. I have my feelings about it. I don't like how he's basically insinuating that if he doesn't get this, he's not incentivized and he's basically going to leave. But here's where I agree with Elon. Let me know what you think. I have a problem with the index funds such as IVV from BlackRock, SPY from State Street. I have a problem with the whole structure with voting the shares. So yes, I understand the way that it works where when you buy an index fund that you're entering into a legal structure where you're pooling your money with everyone else and you own shares of that fund. You don't actually own shares of Apple or Tesla. Now, the fund is a separate legal entity, which is usually in the form of like a trust or another company, and it takes the pooled assets and it buys all the shares. So technically, BlackRock owns the shares, and then they're putting those shares into their structure, and you own shares of that structure. So I have a problem with that, because why should BlackRock be allowed to take all of the funds pooled, buy the shares, and put them into that entity which backs the shares of the ETF or the mutual fund, and then go vote them? You should be allowed to either vote your shares that are equivalent to the amount you own in the fund, or none of those shares should be allowed to be voted, because BlackRock wouldn't have that money to buy the shares if it wasn't for the millions and millions of people that are buying IVV. It drives me freaking nuts. And I think that when you get BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street in the room, what is that, 20% of some of these companies? When you think about all of the funds they have, the S&P total market, everything else, it's crazy. I don't get it. It's freaking nuts. As far as Elon, is he worth it? I don't know. I mean, I can argue it both ways. On the shareholder side, I could argue it that company's 1.2 trillion now. If he takes it to 8 trillion, is he not worth the money? I mean, yeah, he made the shareholders a ton of money. On another side, I don't like it because he's basically holding a gun to everybody's head. So I don't know. I could go either way on it. But I do like the point he brings up about the index funds. I've said that for a very long time. I think that all those shares should be null and void on voting rights. If they're in an ETF or a mutual fund, they should not be allowed to be voted, because I don't think that the fund managers or those corporations should have that much power over any one company. I think it's insane. So Ohtani just hit a homer. He is the best baseball player of all time. No, Matt Watson, he didn't. Stop it. Amit talked shit about your movie picks. Just thought you should know. Listen, I'm willing to say that the list that we put out, he hasn't watched a single one of those movies the whole way through. So I'm just saying, I don't think he's watched any of those movies the whole way through. So it's hard for him to talk about those movies. I mean, he didn't even watch Godfather. I mean, come on now. Crazy. But yeah, I mean, I'm wondering how everybody think. Okay, Amit said he would do it better. Once again, it was a preset list of gangster movies. Preset. We did not have control over the selections. We were able to move the selections that were in that. So I would be happy to see. You know what would be funny? If we send him the link and have him rank the same movies, and let's see where he ranks everything. I think that would be freaking hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Yeah, he's not a movie guy. He doesn't watch movies. And I will say, Miller's Crossing's freaking really a good movie. Right. But will they give you all the things to move around? Like the preset list that we found, you could actually just move them around. Everything was done. Yeah, this is a problem, everybody. Putting Heat in F tier is a problem. It's a big problem. And look, part of the problem here is the younger generation is glued to screens. They can't sit through movies. And I'm even going to say it's hard for me to sit through a movie these days, but I can still do it. I am finding myself that I like 50-minute TV shows or 40-minute TV shows a lot more. I recently watched. Did anybody watch Dark Wolf? Yeah, Dark Wolf, Terminal List prequel. It was freaking awesome. Freaking awesome. I agree. Heat is spectacular start to finish. Absolutely. Let's see. It is 9:07. So I guess we're going to talk about movies and TV for like 8 minutes. I'm going to end the stream, and then Chris and I will be live at 9:30. And we are going to be talking about one company that I want to talk about, maybe another one that he wants to talk about, or we'll see where the conversation goes. We're doing a show called Inside the Numbers where we talk about stocks that are potentially unloved by a lot of people that we like, that are cash cows, and we think there's an opportunity in the market. So it's a good show. All right, let's see. I have not watched Supernatural. I will tell you, I kind of want to go back and watch Sons of Anarchy again. I kind of want to go back and watch it. Sons of Anarchy is such a good TV show. Yeah, Heat is peak cinema, especially when they are trying to figure out what the hell Bobby D, Val Kilmer are looking at. And then Pacino goes, you know what they're looking at? The LAPD. We just got made. I mean, that's so classic. So classic. Quick and the Dead's a good one, too. SoFi earnings tomorrow morning. I think we're getting a triple beat. We'll see what happens. Gladiator 2 is trash. Absolute trash. Do I have a motorcycle? I do not. I want a motorcycle. I'll probably murder myself on one, so I'm not getting one. I want a Harley. I almost bought a Harley. Not doing it, though. Carlito's Way is a good movie. I enjoy Carlito's Way. Really do. I couldn't get into The Boys. I couldn't get into it. I tried it. I couldn't get into it. I like Tulsa King. I like Once Upon a Time in America. SoFi prediction. Triple B. I mean, I'm not going to give a price prediction because who knows what the hell's going to happen. Who knows? Oh, Braveheart, incredible. It's actually on, I think it's on Prime now. It's incredible. You know, Game of Thrones spinoff. I'm not excited. I think that they did a horrible job on House of the Dragon. I'm not happy with the way Game of Thrones ended. I'm just not happy with Game of Thrones. Mayans MC was interesting. It wasn't as good as Sons of Anarchy. but it was good. It was watchable. Sons of Anarchy was just so much better. The Last Samurai is a good movie. Witcher was okay. 24 is amazing. Breaking Bad, I couldn't do. Couldn't do it. Have I watched Chad Powers yet? No, I haven't. No, I haven't. But you know what? I've seen the Eli Manning thing on YouTube where he's Chad Powers and he goes to the Penn State tryout. It was freaking hilarious. Oh, all right. This is right here. This is someone who obviously takes TV seriously. You, sir, take TV seriously. What a great question. And I don't even know how to begin to answer that. I don't know how to begin to answer that. The Shield redefined cop dramas. It was incredible. Vic Mackey was awesome. So good. I mean, such a great show. I think I kind of got to give it to Sons of Anarchy, though. But The Shield is just freaking ridiculous. I'll put Dark Knight in top 10, not top 5. Top 10 I'll give you. I can't go top 5. Reacher was good. I'm looking forward to the second. I'm sorry, the next season. '70s Show was funny. I mean, I like 2.5 Men a lot. Westworld, the first 2 seasons were great. They were great. Let's see. Yeah, NYPD Blue. I mean, that was good. Superbad, great. Casino Royale is the best Bond movie. Although I watched GoldenEye over the weekend for nostalgia purposes, and I gotta tell you, GoldenEye is freaking great. It really is. Irishman was trash. I do not watch anime. Let's see. Connery, yeah, Die Another Day is underrated. I got news for everybody. Freaking Pierce Bronson, underrated as Bond. I mean, which ones was he in? Die Another Day, GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies. Forget the other one. He was underrated. Definitely underrated. I mean, look, a lot of old-time Bond aficionados hate when I say this. Daniel Craig and Pierce Bronson are better than Sean Connery. I'm sorry. Maybe it's because I'm younger. Maybe it's because I didn't grow up watching Bond in the 70s. But, I mean, Daniel Craig is Bond. Like, if you read Ian Fleming's books, Daniel Craig is Bond. Period. Connery's run was incredible. I just like the other two as Bond better. Bill Murray and Broken Flowers. We need to get Amit to watch Caddyshack is what we need to do. We really need to get him to freaking watch Caddyshack. Can I make merch for you? I have a few things I may make. So if I make merch, it's going to be ridiculous. I can tell you that much. All right. So before I turn it off, I only need 10 minutes to go get something to eat. Before I shut this stream down, we transfer over to Inside the Numbers. Connery's Bond movies. Which one's the best one? From Russia with Love, Dr. No, Man with a Golden Gun. I mean, which one's his best Bond movie? Dr. No. I mean, Dr. No's good. I mean, they're good. I happen to like From Russia with Love, I gotta say. No, okay. The Rock is. I agree. Okay. So The Rock's a really good movie of his. I was more talking about what's his best James Bond movie. But how about this? Entrapment was a great freaking movie, was it not? Entrapment was a great Connery movie. And for all the sci-fi fans out there, how good was Connery in Highlander? I mean, come on now. He was a Spaniard in Highlander. It's freaking great. I am so ready for the Highlander remake. I think they're going to do an incredible job because how could you not? Don't even remake it. Don't remake Highlander unless it's going to be incredible. That is one of those movies you should not remake. There can be only one. And I gotta take that people hate that are Highlander fans. I gotta take Duncan MacLeod is better than Connor MacLeod. Just gotta say, I'll die on that hill. So I think two sucks. One's incredible. I'll tell you, Endgame is freaking ridiculous. Highlander Endgame, if you haven't seen it, is incredible. With Duncan and Connor, oh my God, so good. The Source was Yeah, Endgame was fun. I liked it. Oh man, wasn't it Spaulding? I actually don't remember. And obviously my hands didn't freaking move. So you know I'm not typing looking for it. I really don't remember. It's not Titleist. I don't even think Titleist was around back then. It had to have been a freaking Spaulding. Where is it? Tombstone you need to watch. Everybody should watch Tombstone. It's incredible. Slazenger, you're right. Freaking Slazenger. Jesus. How did I screw that up? Yeah, Tombstone's a classic. It is Val Kilmer's best performance, even though a lot of people think his performance in The Doors. But Val Kilmer's best performance. All right, everyone. I'm going to go get something to eat. I appreciate everybody being here. We'll be live in 10 minutes for Inside the Numbers. It's going to be a really good conversation. Please join us, and I'll see you in 10 minutes. See everybody soon.